Good day, my crypto friends. It's a pleasure to see you today. Today we have Alberto from EOS Venezuela, a part of the EOS Venezuela block producers, and we're going to talk about the current situation in Venezuela and actual real use cases for cryptocurrency. Venezuela is doing some big things, so let's just get into it, Alberto. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the current situation, how you guys are using EOS down there, and what it's like.
Hey, Brandon, thank you for having us. Well, Venezuela right now, as you might have heard on the news, is just in a current state of crisis, general crisis. We've been living under, let's say, a dictatorship for over a decade, almost 2 decades actually. The government has a very strict control over pretty much everything in the country, from economy to social behavior to everything that comes in the country and that comes out. Everything is controlled by the government, and this government had a really bad agenda that put us in the crisis that we are right now. Venezuela is a place that have a fiat currency that is worthless, absolutely worthless. Like you might seen lately a lot of videos of Venezuelan people using the note bills just to like do origami and try to sell that as an artisan of product, because it has absolutely no worth inside Venezuela and outside of Venezuela. So it's a place that corruption has taken a huge toll on the economy. The corruption has distorted all the behavior from citizens and the government, and it's pretty much the worst situation that you can imagine, from all kind of predictions of a dictatorship, a military regime, and all the things that you hear when we talk about blockchain and crypto, all the bad things that the government and centralization can do to a place. That's pretty much what is happening in Venezuela in exponential times. So it's a situation with a lot of problems, with a lot of challenges, but it's exactly the time that we want. It's the best time for us to try to do something radical, to try to bring new ideas and to bring new technologies that can actually solve all these issues in a totally different approach.
Yeah, Alberto, it's wild to hear how you talk about that, because you are part of the actual use case for cryptocurrency and for EOS and this blockchain movement. And so many people like me included talk about the use cases hypothetically. Well, if this happens, then we need cryptocurrency, or we need this to prevent this from happening. But you are somewhere that you're actually living the need for cryptocurrency. And it's you're on the bleeding edge of how it can actually be used. And that's so interesting. So, what's it like? It's hard for me to even wrap my head around what it'd be like if the paper money that we use isn't even useful. How do you get your standard goods, or how do you get groceries if you don't have access to cryptocurrency? What's that look like?
Well, this is the thing. It's kind of a long story that I have to explain first to get here. So in Venezuela, the government, like over a decade ago, said our economy is closed. The only institution in the country and worldwide that is allowed to exchange Venezuelan fiat money to any other currency in the world is the Venezuelan government. So let's say that you have all your money in your bank, right? And you want to travel. You cannot take the money in your bank outside of Venezuela. Like it's absolutely worthless once you get out. The only way to exchange that is to ask the government, like, hey, I'm going out. Can I use my money outside so you will exchange it for me? And the government in the past used to say, okay, tell me the reason, how long, show me proof, etc., etc. So this control over how you use your money, how you exchange it, and if you can use it outside or not, it just became this decadent control and process that got so bad, so tight, to the point of today that you cannot access to an outside economy as a Venezuelan. We are pretty much secluded in our country with all these walls around us. And the only institution or the only power that is, allowed to actually trade with outside of Venezuela or import something is the government. So we are just like imprisoned in our own country, right? And that's when Bitcoin in the beginning, it became like this amazing thing. When people in Venezuela start to realize that, hey, there's this digital currency that it will open the door for you to exchange first your local money to something that is tradable globally, and no one can freeze your account or no one can just control those Bitcoins and say, no, you cannot use it. That was a revelation. And that's why Bitcoin a few years ago started to become something kind of big in Venezuela. Bitcoin was the first one, but then after that it became, just part of the ecosystem. Now in Venezuela you have, as a big currencies, Dash, Steem. Steemit is a huge community in Venezuela. Imagine Venezuela, because our crisis, our salaries are very low. Like the economy is such in a bad depression that currently the minimum wage is about $6 a month.
Oh, wow.
A month. So imagine the first time in 2016 and then last year in 2017, when we start to promote Steemit, also as a community of Venezuelans, like, hey, I discovered this. There's a place that you can just post content that you're willing to do it just because you like it, and you can get rewarded. And then you can get rewarded in a currency that will open the door again to all kind of trades and to all kind of contacts with different worlds. And that just was a revolution, real revolution. There's a huge community that got interested about the opportunities. In Venezuela, these kind of applications of cryptocurrency and blockchain just became real doors to different kind of business opportunities or professional careers, If we're talking that in Venezuela, minimum wage is about $6. When someone makes, let's say, $20 on a post on Steemit, it's like, wow, I just made it, So all these kind of applications and communities start to build, something like, hey, this can be the solution for many of us. For many Venezuelans, became the pathway to actually try to do something with your life. Because imagine when you're young, or when you have a business, or when you want to aspire to have, a big professional dream. It's very hard right now in Venezuela, having all these obstacles put by the government, by policies, by control, et cetera, et cetera. So cryptocurrencies are just a real useful means of exchange, a door, a pathway, however you want to call it, for the things that we lack the most, that is contact with the outside world. This is the opportunity. This is the means that we can actually say we are part of this globalized world, this globalized community, because the internet opened that door. And for us, it's amazing, like the history of use of the internet in Venezuela, because we have all these connections with the outside world, with other countries, or with a global community, but it always reach an obstacle when you have to use money, right? So every time that you have to pay for a service or you want to try to get paid for something, that was the obstacle. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can try to send me, let's say I have a lot of friends that were freelancing on the internet. And like 5 years ago, the main problem is like, dude, if I don't have a bank account in any other country, I cannot accept any payment, because the government of Venezuela, if you try to send money, they will say, no, we take that money.
Really? So you couldn't, even if you were freelancing on, say, Fiverr, and you had it up there, you could only accept money basically in Venezuelan dollars.
Yeah, so yeah. The first, let's say that one of the first solutions were PayPal, But PayPal in Latin America has many restrictions, so it's not that useful or open. And that's when, Bitcoin changed it all. Right now, the main advancement I think that we have in Venezuela is like every day you find more people that are willing to work with Bitcoin at any level. Like right now, I have travel agencies that you can pay your plane tickets with Bitcoin or with Dash or with EOS or with Steam. So there are freelancers that you have. Oh yeah, I do graphic design, and then you can pay me in Bitcoin if you want. You can pay rent in certain cities in Venezuela, and there are people that say, okay, yeah, it's this many Bitcoin a month. So that is just like useful. It's needed, and that is how us, EOS Venezuela, and all our intentions to use EOS in Venezuela is actually because we need these kind of technologies. It's not like, oh yeah, we're fans of these blockchain ideas. No, for us, it's actual solutions. This is something that we see as all the tools that we need to actually solve the massive crisis that we have right now.
Yeah, and it's an interesting concept because fiat currency has a lifespan. No fiat currency lasts forever. It lasts a certain amount of time, 100, 200 years sometimes, but not much longer than that generally. And then when fiat currencies fail, they've been replaced by new fiat in the past. Now it seems that as fiat currencies fail and they're replaced by cryptocurrencies, they're not going to be replaced by a fiat again. I mean, Venezuela is a great example. I mean, what's the chance of the Venezuelan community coming together and getting behind another fiat currency now that this one has failed? It's almost like they're picking cryptocurrency, and I don't see that reverting back to fiat ever. It's kind of a one-way street.
Yeah, well, exactly like you said, the lifespan of fiat currency, it's actually in our case. When people say like, oh, cryptocurrency is so volatile, excuse me, I come from a place that we have 1,000,000% hyperinflation. Yeah. Volatile for me is whatever. So fiat is not any, safe currency. Everything is how it's backed. If the fiat is just based on the trust that you have on the government, if you have a good government, okay, then you can have maybe a stable economy. But if you have a terrible government like us, you have this crazy volatile currency that actually it's worth nothing. And it's funny that you mentioned the time span, the life span of a fiat currency, because in the last 30 years in Venezuela, we have had 3 different fiat currencies.
Wow.
First, until the early 2000s, we had the Bolivar. That's the one that we have had all our lives, let's say. The Bolivar, then in 2006, 2007, it was facing for the first time, like, this hyperinflation and crisis and turmoils in the political scene of Venezuela. So the government has this brilliant idea of saying, hey, if we control the government and we are arbitrary because we don't have anyone else to pay attention, let's just cut 3 zeros and let's just rename it to Bolivar Fuerte, the strong Bolivar. And they just did it. And of course, it was a failed experiment. And now, again, 2018, we are in a terrible crisis, even worse than back then. And they just came out with the, again, same brilliant argument. Hey, let's just cut 3 zeros out and let's just put another name. So now it's the Bolivar Soberano. And that's when you see, what? Crypto economy is not so different from normal economy. It's just people that are willing to use something and to accept the value of it. But if you say it has value just because it's fiat, it doesn't work like that. And it's the same with crypto. A lot of people always ask me like, well, but why crypto? Like, I don't understand how that thing has value. Well, that thing has value because you trust that has value, because you find it useful. because you see that is actually a good tool, a good means of exchange for you, for your life, for your cases, for your business. And that is what Venezuelans are learning right now.
Yeah, the transparency. Yeah, the transparency, and the government can't change it is huge.
Exactly, it's just useful, and and by the time that it's just more useful than what we have, is when the curve starts to explode.
Yeah. So you said cut 3 zeros. So I understand the concept of are you saying cut 3 zeros off of the supply? Are they actually going to burn dollars or cut 3 zeros, or just the numbers that you use in daily life, or how's that work?
Just the numbers.
Just the numbers that you're saying.
That something cost 1,000 of the previous fiat, now it's just one of the new one. And it's just like that. It's arbitrarily like that.
And do they issue new bills, or they just say now the bills that you have that are worthless, actually now they're worth more?
Every time they have done it, they have issued new bills. That's the only, let's say, new thing that you put to the user.
And so everyone has to basically reset. I mean, everyone starts at zero again. If you had you had money saved, then it doesn't count.
Like, imagine for the banks. Right now, pretty much the 95% of the banks in Venezuela are controlled by the government. Mm-hmm. So it's just like their own bureaucratic problem. But imagine for normal banks, just one day say, hey, now you have to cut 3 zeros out of all the accounts that you have. It's like, what? it's not possible. This is so crazy. And then when you tell people, hey, there's this other currency, let's say, to not just mention Bitcoin, is this crypto that you can use it here in Venezuela, but you can use it anywhere else. You can go to Europe, you can go to Argentina, you can go to the United States and exchange that. And if you don't want to maybe stay with that crypto, you can exchange for another crypto. And then you get this door open to all this fascinating new economy. And that's when everyone gets with like bright eyes. And you see, wow, this could be the salvation.
Well, it's this thought of money and fiat, or excuse me, money and crypto being a competition, a free market of which currency that you want to use, which currency may represent your value, which currency may best fit your needs. All of a sudden, the user is the customer that's trying to be impressed, as opposed to the user of fiat is that's being forced upon them, and there's no incentive for the entity that's running fiat to make it good for the user. They're going to kind of manipulate how they see fit. So this free market of money is one of the revolutions. And like you said, you can use Bitcoin, or you can transfer it into whatever, to Steem or EOS or Dash, whatever you need to use it as, and then travel all around the world with your, whatever your best use case is. So very poignant there. It's very important down there where you are. It's what's it like? I mean, which cryptocurrencies are being used, and what type of people are using those cryptocurrencies, and what are they buying with them? Like what's like a daily use case? Like if you go out and you get lunch today, are you using cryptocurrency?
Well, right now, I will say that there are maybe like two types of users of crypto in general. One is the person that maybe has, let's say, it's wealthy in Venezuela, or has business, or has the need of exchange, do trade with the outside of Venezuela. So the way that the big businesses, the few that are left, are, being capable to actually, transfer money outside of Venezuela, and being able to do some sort of international trade of goods and services, are looking into cryptocurrency because it's the only way that you could, actually try to do it. That's one of the main types. And the other one is, I would say, young people. And young people, let's not say like, just age. Let's say just everyone that is in this generation that is used to use the internet, to use a computer, to use a cell phone. So once you get into this digital identity, I guess, that we can call it, you start to search for ways of income, for ways of, knowledge, or ways to growth, personally. So that's how you start to encounter the cryptocurrency as a way, to grow yourself, your wealth, your knowledge, to your professional self and everything. So you can find people that are doing some sort of, trading, investing in crypto, try to hold, try to sell, making that kind of a business or a way to earn money. You have people that are very into Steemit or Steepshot or all these applications that use blockchain that have rewards in crypto. And the people that are outside of Venezuela and using crypto as a means to send money back to Venezuela. Because that's one of the phenomena that we have right now. There's a massive exodus of people. Every year you see how many Venezuelans are just trying to seek for a better life somewhere else, because it's not possible right now in Venezuela. It's very sad, the situation that we have. So now having all these Venezuelans all spread around the world, what's your first goal? Okay, I have to try to settle down here, try to find a job or something, but then I need to send money back to my family, because all of us, we have pretty much all our family in Venezuela or certain part of your family, and your duty is to help them, right? So crypto, again, is the way that, okay, I need to send money to Venezuela. When you are in the other side of the world, how is the only way? Because even with fiat currency, like when you try to do a wire transfer, it's super expensive, and not all the banks are communicated, and it's all difficult. And then when you start to explain to someone, well, here is, I don't know, local Bitcoin, you pretty much go to everywhere in the world and you will find a way to exchange your Bitcoin or your crypto. And that now in Venezuela is possible too. So that is a way to do, I think the word is remittance.
Yeah, remittance, yep.
Yeah, that. So it's this, it's just become the tool for people that are used to it or some sort of, internet wise. And that's how it becomes. Right now, if you go to Venezuela, I'm not going to say that, yeah, you can go to a restaurant and you will pay with your Bitcoin. But you might find something like that. You might find a cafe, or you might find this little, it's a little shop, a little newspaper kiosk or something like that, that for some reason someone told them, hey, have this mobile wallet or something like that. And if the case happened, you'll be able to do it. And every day, that hypothetical scenario of maybe accepting Bitcoin is happening. Like I have paid my haircut with Bitcoins in Venezuela.
Nice.
So it's just building the community.
I don't need to pay for ads.
But that's what we believe right now. That is the most important thing. Is just building that community. The tools already exist. The technology is here. Now we just need to put it in the hands of the people, and that's how we get all this revolution going on.
Yeah, and so it sounds like it is mainly for moving money around outside of kind of the commerce, the daily commerce level. And that makes sense. As adoption picks up, that's something that changes. And man, what a powerful use case though. I mean, I just would like people who are listening to this or watching this to imagine that, you live in whatever country you live in, and all of a sudden your money's worth nothing. And if you're part of the younger generations, you're now considering having to leave your home country, move somewhere else in the world, find a way to make a start again, and then send money back home to take care of your family. I mean, that is such like a wild proposition that I don't think a lot of people really put themselves in that place and imagine how what that would be like. I mean, that's a serious use case for crypto. That's a huge thing that it's providing. That opportunity to even have that, because without crypto, I mean, you have that opportunity, but then it's this big hassle to even get money home. So at least it's alleviating some of the pressure there. I mean, that's wild, man. That is wild.
Yeah. And well, actually what we believe right now, and now I'm going to get into a little bit of EOS specifically. It's like, cryptocurrency, I think for everyone, as a historical way to see it, cryptocurrency was the first step. We all got into these concepts because crypto money, digital money, whatever. But then now is when we try to educate people and introduce it to the masses, the idea of, okay, crypto is just an application. But what we need to pay attention is to this underlying technology that is the blockchain. And then now with EOS is when we finally have a blockchain or this technology that is available to be, applied for everything that you want. It has no obstacles from the beginning to actually be implemented. So, for example, right now, EOS Venezuela block producers. When we think about Venezuela, what we want to do is to come up with a plan to solve all the problems and the crises that we have, because it's our home, it's our country. It's not like, oh yeah, it's a business and we want to make money. No, this is our country that is falling apart and we need to glue it back together. Mm-hmm. And then when we start to think about, okay, what are our problems? First, money, economy. Okay, we have cryptocurrency. Good. But then we start to talk with other block producers and with other enthusiasts, and then we say, well, but you know what? What is one of our problems? Well, we have a dictatorship and our democratic system is just decadent, right? And people don't really believe or have faith when you go to an election and you say, oh, well, this could be the change. That it's a struggle. It's a struggle of power from, like David and Goliath. So when we see that now we can build through this technology, for example, a way of having massive elections of any kind of level that are transparent, that are public, that are incorruptible, that's a powerful idea. Lately, these have been like my kind of conversations with people in Venezuela, and it's like, no way. And then the other day, I have this friend that is super smart, and they say, hey, you know what? Let's calculate this. And then we start to see how much the government has to pay for every election that we have in Venezuela. In Venezuela, because this type of populist, supposedly socialist government, that is just the facade of a dictatorship. The only way that they convince the international community that, hey, we are always in the side of the people is because they make these elections all the time for anything. Like, oh yeah, we want this, yes or no, let's make an election out of that. And of course, every time that they do that, it's a lot of propaganda, it's a lot of marketing, it's a lot of mobilization, logistics. They have these machines that supposedly do an online super fast send of the data, but that's a lie. And then we start to calculate all this, and this is roughly, the numbers. Let's say that for the government, every election costs from $40 to $60 million, just the logistics of it. I'm not even counting propaganda or something like that. And then what if we could just program a way, a website, a DApp, or whatever you want to call it, to vote on the blockchain? And this is the best part. Now we have a president that is the EOS blockchain, that have a governance system and that actually have a voting system. And then you see, it's possible. It is easy. It is massive. It is open. So what if we could redesign the behavior of our government and our society using these tools? And this is the part that we get more excited, because this is like the second level, transcending from this economy point of view to a much more bigger dimension of what we could do with all these technologies in countries like Venezuela.
Yeah, and that's a great point. The beginning of our talk was only about the currency application, but when you start getting into EOS, the unlimited applications, this Pandora's box that's been opened of possibility. And the elections is a big one, and the identity solve that Dan, or the identity one account per identity that Dan says he's got a solution for. I really look forward to hearing what that solution is and how robust it is, because with that solution, all of a sudden voting is a no-brainer. If one account per person is verifiable and easy, then all of a sudden voting is such a natural step. And somewhere where the system's completely broken, like you're saying in Venezuela, then it's such a natural progression to this online voting. Places where the system is going to be harder to break down is where the voting's working fine and people believe in it. Then it's all of a sudden they don't see the reason. But again, it's the same way that the crypto or the fiat application is being replaced by cryptocurrency, is the same way that the voting application can be fixed. And so that's really a big idea. And I know that I believe it's EOS Meso possibly in Honduras is looking into the voting.
It's voting actually with them that we're talking.
Yeah, so they got Jose over there. Yeah, so they've got some cool ideas. And you've got some cool ideas. I look forward to seeing how it plays out, and how it starts to get implemented. So you got the currency application and the voting type application. What other kind of ways do you see EOS affecting Venezuela?
Well, this is pretty much like our plan that we advertise while our candidacy for block producers. So what we want to do is to use all these benefits, right, to bring solutions to Venezuela. And the third point, thinking about the macro vision of the problem of Venezuela, something that we need to do is education. We need to bring jobs, but we need to pretty much bring a new set of mind for the Venezuelan people. Because right now, the problem with a crisis like this is like, imagine that if you have a society that is falling apart, a currency that is worth nothing, what you get as a consequence is violence, is depression, is poverty in big quantities. So right now, to incentivize someone in Venezuela, a young person, a kid, to, hey, you have to study, you have to learn, you have to see your future, it sounds like a broken dream. Mm-hmm. It has no incentive to actually believe that. Why am I going to study if I know that I'm just going to be in the worst? So something that we think that can, change that is these technologies, the education of these technologies. We believe right now when you talk with all the startups that are working in blockchain or in technology, in the computer science, you need developers. Developers is like the biggest profession in the upcoming future ever. It's something that we needed. It's something that is actually going to help to flourish all these tools and these technologies and the applications and the things that we can do with it. So what is something very good that we have about this? That you have knowledge online that is not necessarily to pay. Like there's such a huge source of free knowledge on the internet that every day I just get amazed the things that I can learn just by Googling it, like in 1 minute. So what we want to curate is pretty much bringing all this free knowledge that is already online to the people, and this as a career path to like, hey, this thing that we're using right now, you can learn how to code that or how to use it or how to understand it more. And I will guarantee you that knowing that will open so many doors for you professionally. So this is the thing, it's good for Venezuela, but it's good for the global community, because the more developers that we have, no matter where they are, it's good. Right now we have all these outsourcing platforms that is just, the only thing that you need is your computer and access to the internet, and that's pretty much the world in your hands. And that's what we believe. When we start to see the value of this technology, then we see the value of the importance and to learn how to use it and learn to master them. And that's what we believe that it will be like, or is the third level of this revolution or this new paradigm. It's bringing education of coding, of the understanding of the crypto and blockchain technologies as a way to bring jobs and a new professional generation of young Venezuelans, all the young and everyone in Venezuela.
Yeah, that's great. And so is the EOS Venezuela block producer, is that what your plan for if you start getting block rewards is to put it into the community and into education? That sounds like the plan? So
our plan is we created something that is called the EOS Study Center, the ESC, and it's pretty much this idea. We want to, in some point, become programming schools, online, maybe physically. Physically right now is very difficult because of the situation in Venezuela. But we say, hey, I know many people that have a cell phone or have a computer or a laptop. And then if we know that there are this free knowledge in the internet, let's just curate it, put it together, organize it, and make it easy for the people, for the person to actually get it. So that's what we're starting to do right now. We built the ESC, that is a website that you can just go, and there's a ton of tutorials, video tutorials, because we believe that that's one of the best ways to actually access to the knowledge. Just video tutorials about many things, from starting to code to more like complex things about blockchain fundamentals, and then a little bit more about EOS specifically, like concepts of like, what is the stake and not stake, and the air grabbing and the airdrops and all the RAM. And it's just this. It's just like, hey, you don't have to be such a geek or a wise person. You can just start to learn. The knowledge is just there. It's just, again, we're just trying to put the things that already exist into the hands of the people. And that's when we start to see the good results.
Yeah. What do you think the percentage of people, I mean, just a kind of a ballpark guess, do you think the percentage of people that know about cryptocurrencies in Venezuela is higher than the rest of the world? Is it or is it kind of on par?
Well, right now, I think that the only good thing that the Venezuelan government have done for us as a community is that it put the idea of cryptocurrency in the minds of everyone. Because now, I don't know if you have heard, the Venezuelan government, since the beginning of the year, they say, now we're going to have our own cryptocurrency. Of course, they're trying to use this kind of marketing. So they just start to say it. They have no idea what a cryptocurrency is. They haven't published actually how they're going to do it or any infrastructure, anything, but they say it every day. So people in Venezuela, maybe if you don't really understand it, you know that it exists, you know that it's possible, and you know that it's coming. So that's the favor that they did. They actually legitimize it, saying, we're going to use it, and you're going to use it as a citizen. So boom, it's like massive marketing to all the nation and legitimizing, because you know that that's something that you will have to get used to it. So I think as a percentage, just to have heard about cryptocurrency, I would say something very high. I would say something like, I don't know, 70%, 80% of the population, because it's in the speech of all the government officials every day. So that's been kind of a good thing for us, I guess, because it's getting that mediatic part easy for us now.
No, I think that's a great point, and that they did do you a great favor, because because people, as they hear something more and more often, they get more comfortable with it. I mean, Bitcoin's a great example. So many people have heard the word Bitcoin now that they're they're kind of comfortable with it, or they know about it. It's not this weird internet thing that you're gonna have to explain to people. They at least think, oh, Bitcoin, that's the way I can pay people. It's money. So that does sound like they did you a big favor there. So can you talk to me about the petrodollar? Is that what it's called, the petrodollar? Or go ahead.
Just the petro.
The petro.
So this is the thing, because the Venezuelan current government is considered and actually appointed by many supranational organizations like the American States of Organization. It's categorized as a dictatorship. So the United Nations, at the end of 2017, said, hey, we're going to make some sort of sanctions against the Venezuelan government because of this, because, try to push for a reform or for openness or blah, blah, blah. So the United States, as a nation, put some sanctions, some trade sanctions on the Venezuelan government. The Venezuelan government only pretty much gets the money out of oil, right? We trade oil every day, and that's a state company. So that's pretty much their checks. And when the United States actually blocked that and they say to everyone in the world, if you start to buy Venezuelan oil, we're going to have problems. So don't buy it because we want to push for democracy, freedom, or whatever the speech is. Then the Venezuelan government started to face this reality that, okay, we need to sell this, but now we cannot use dollars because, well, that's controlled by the American banks, right? So someone probably just said to the government officials in Venezuela, like, hey, dude, you could use Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And then probably from that, they probably have researched a little bit more and say, hey, that you could create your own currency. And I think that's when it sparks like, oh, so we can create one of these just for us and we can still control it. And that is when, of course, it gets all bad because you shouldn't be able, but yeah, they just took this idea and deform it in a way that is just beneficial for them. So they say, yeah, we're going to have the petro state-backed currency. And how we back it up? Well, because our oil and gold and all the minerals that Venezuela is so rich that they control. But it's just that, stay just in the announcement of we going to have our cryptocurrency backed by all this. But when you read the white paper that they published in the beginning, the website of the Petro, it says that it was going to be an Ethereum token. But then later on, if you go to the website, it says that it's going to be on NEM, the New Economy Movement network. And now when they talk about it, they say that it's going to be Stellar. So, it's like they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to do it. It's just, I think the word to put it is just a scam, Mm-hmm. It works for them just as a way to go over the sanctions and the blockage that other countries have on our global trades. But it's nothing tangible. They just said that they're going to pay the public servants with it. Now supposedly we're going to be able to pay taxes with it, but no one has access to it. So if you have a currency that no one has access to it has no value. Mm-hmm. It's just obvious that. It's just a simple economic law. So it's just a marketing tool for the government to try to just delay the unavoidable end of their resources in the economy. Yeah. So that's what is happening with the Petro.
Yeah, it sounds like, it's real possible that they're just basically digitizing fiat, and it's not really necessarily has the positive features of blockchain at all. It's just, we're going to put our money online now.
Imagine they open the registration for Venezuelan citizens to be miners of this token, mm-hmm. right? So everyone, so it's going to be mineable. And then he said, no. You're going to mine, but not right now. First, we're going to do all the issuance and we're going to control it. And then later on, with the years, we're going to open the mining possibility. Yeah. It's like, dude, that doesn't work like that. I don't think I understand the technology.
Yeah, so, they'll pre-mine it all before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So I've been seeing an airdrop on EOS for something. Do you know what that is? I should write it down.
So what we're doing EOS Venezuela, block producers, like I've been telling you. So we need to tackle the money issue, the election issue, the education issue. So we bring solutions, right? Education, we build the ESC, the EOS Study Center, and we want to, make that much, much bigger, right? About the money problem, then we think, hey, let's just put, again, the tools in the hands of the people. Let's just create a cryptocurrency that could actually work for the Venezuelan case and actually for many, many other countries that maybe face the same situation or the same obstacles. So that's how we created the crypto peso. The crypto peso is an EOS-based token that we are promoting right now. We actually, in the month of September, is our airdrop. So what we want to do is just, again, bring means of exchange that is actually more useful and with much more benefits to Venezuelan peoples and to other people than the actual fiat currency. So it's a project, we call it the plan for a modern economy in Venezuela and Latin America, because that's what it is. It's a plan. This is the tool, this is the plan, and let's just use it.
Set it free. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we actually have thought about this. We have a model that for us, the crypto peso has value only is if the community uses. So what we need to put it is in the hands of the people, the hands of the Venezuelans. So right now for us, it's just first trying to make it as useful as possible. Right now we having all these talks and partnerships with dApps and with people that are having services and businesses and like, hey, use crypto peso. If you can use crypto peso, if you can find it useful for your business model, for everything, we're just going to put it there for you. And we have landed an amazing partnership with a dApp called EVA, that is an Uber-like, made of the blockchain. So for them, they say, hey, we want to be in Latin America. And actually, Venezuela has a very big problem with transportation. And they say, what if we put it there? I say, well, what if we put it there, but we introduce it with the crypto peso as a means of payment, right? And then they say, okay, yeah, awesome. And then all this synergy is going on. And we have a very particular airdrop. It's not like we just sending crypto pesos to everyone, because this token has a very specific intention, right? That is solve the problems of Venezuela and later on scalable to Latin America or maybe other countries. So we want to put it in the hands of Venezuelans, and we have something that we have called the selective airdrop. We just need to do a registration process so we can actually create that community, put it together. We have a form that you have to fill just to have a minimum of KYC, to have everything organized and the most efficient and the best way possible. So we just right now building all the tools and the ways to make this spread out massively in Venezuela for Venezuelans. But of course, we having the EOS holders too, just with the particularity that if you have EOS in your EOS account, you're going to receive your crypto pesos, but no matter how many millions you might have in EOS, you won't get more than 1 million crypto pesos, just as a max cap. So we can have more to distribute among Venezuelans and other users.
That makes sense. I like the idea. I think the Telos capped their airdrop as well for accounts. With the Venezuelans, are you going to give them a kind of a base amount? Say maybe they only have one EOS in their account. You'll give them what's that base amount look like for them?
So our ratio for the airdrop is 1 to 10. Okay. 1 EOS, 10 crypto pesos. So for us, if you have zero, if you are Venezuelan, you have zero of this, at least you're going to get 10 crypto pesos.
Okay.
To start with. And then we have a plan by mid-October, late October, we're going to launch a tool that is called the EOS Club. And the EOS Club is pretty much a a directory, a commercial directory, and later on marketplace for people to use EOS and crypto pesos in Venezuela. It's like a massive online map. It's like, okay, I have my crypto pesos now. Where can I use it? Boom. Here's the community. Here's how you're going to actually make it grow and make it to interconnect to each other. And that's where we see the value. If this is actually possible, if it's a token that you can just hold it and wait, like someday maybe can go up in price, that's just not worth it for our plans. What we need is to build community, and this community to interconnect to each other and start to use these tools. And that's why everything that we're building is just usefulness for the crypto peso and means to create that community, to put it together. Because right now in Venezuela, you have all these maybe small communities that they don't know each other. And that's why we want to just put them together and say, okay, now this is a real economy. If I can travel all around Venezuela and use my crypto pesos here and there, then that's where we're going to change the country.
Yeah. I mean, that could be very powerful. It's a fantastic idea. And we're at such a, cut out for a second there. We're at such a time in history now where this is possible, where you can launch a currency. And so I can't wait to see how this works, and how the airdrop affects Venezuelans, how many people you get using it. And this is such a great use case for airdrops in general, because if you want to kickstart an economy or kickstart the use case, the best way to do it is give someone 10 free crypto pesos and then say, hey, you've got free money, just go figure out how to go spend it, And so once that starts happening, it'll be interesting to see how it gains traction. Are you worried on your end about any sort of government sanctions? I mean, it's a pretty bold move putting out a competing currency with a government,
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Right now in Venezuela, it's dangerous to do pretty much everything in your life. Like, just thinking different, it's dangerous in Venezuela. So there's a point that you just, stop thinking about that. Because if you will try to maintain yourself under the be good sphere with the government, then you won't be able to do anything, because that's a problem. That's the resignation point. Mm-hmm. And I'm lucky to be able to be outside of Venezuela, to travel. Right now we have part of our community is outside of Venezuela, and actually many of us are just emigrating, because that's the only way that you could actually try to keep helping what is happening in Venezuela. If you go to other places, you're probably going to learn new things. You're going to have access to new ways to see the problems. And that's what is happening, I have to say for myself, like if I hadn't studied, I did my master's in Barcelona, in Spain. And in 2013, when I did my master, was when I discovered Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be able to be here today. So that's the thing. When you travel, when you adapt yourself to a new culture, when you learn that it's a different way of life, all kind of levels, because every language, every culture has a different vision of life and the universe. So when you learn that, you just become a bigger perspective person. And that's what is happening right now in Venezuela. I'm a idealistic believer that all this exodus, this migration that is happening in Venezuela, it's actually the seed that will help our country in the future. Because all this generation that is going outside are going to learn a different type of life, probably a new way to be more grateful to what you have or how you get received in another place. And then that's probably what you're going to try to plant in Venezuela. That's how we're going to bring solutions, by going somewhere else, learning, and then bringing all that back.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful concept. This thought that, out of tragedy, a lot of the time comes this drive to grow and be bigger. And in Venezuela's case, like all of these people being driven out of their home country out of necessity, and then learning all these other wonderful angles from all over the world, from different cultures, and then reapplying them to back home where that knowledge is needed, is, what a uh, could be such a powerful thing, and that's part of why we see these ebbs and flows in society, where societies rise and then they crumble and they rise again in different places, is because of this, this movement of people and thoughts and ideas and knowledge. And so, yeah, that's actually a really optimistic view for Venezuela. I like that. And to you, man, it's very noble what you're doing, trying to help an entire country. I mean, that's badass. I don't know what to say besides that. That's, when you think about, like, yeah, I'm trying to, I'm doing my part to save an entire country. That's the real shit, man. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But like I told you, it's just, for us, it's just helping our home, because it's the thing. I'm not that old. I'm 30. So for me, I remember a Venezuela that was absolutely radically different of what we have now. And I cannot believe, when right now you're in the US, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine that you wake up one day and everything that just change, and change for misery, for poverty, for like all kind of obstacles. And you cannot believe that. It's just like, no, I mean, I know my home. I know the country that we were. So that's why you start to say, I have to do something, because I remember the good times. I remember when everything was normal, when we have a beautiful life. I mean, I don't want to sound patriotic, but Venezuela is a beautiful country. Yeah. Beautiful, like with so many wonderful things. And it's just like a normal thing that you want to do. If you know that you could reach certain answers, certain solutions, it's just logically that you say, hey, I have a solution. Just please do this.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah. Well, to kind of restate your guys' plan with the EOS Venezuela block producer. I mean, you guys have earned my vote, absolutely, and I'll try to get some word out as I can about what you guys are doing. But the 3-prong approach, it sounds like, with giving the Venezuela a stable currency, a stable voting system, and helping educate people. I mean, it's what a great use case for EOS, and to see things like that pushed forward in the real world is that's something for people to put some of their voting weight behind, so yeah, great work, man.
Thank you. And we appreciate everyone that has voted for us. It's been amazing. It's been an incredible support. And of course, if we can find more, the better.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've got a global community here. That's been one of my favorite parts of EOS, is meeting people like you and other people in South America and Europe and Africa and Asia. Every continent I have friends on because of EOS, and it's brought this. It's good to feel it as a global community. It's good to have understanding and love for your fellow man. And so that's just bigger picture, something that EOS has brought into a lot of people. So I think that's pretty cool. So is there anything that we kind of glossed over, anything that you didn't feel, that you'd like to touch on as far as your block producer goes, or you think we captured it pretty well?
I think this, how you summarize our plan, it was the best. Thank you for that.
Yeah, cool.
And right now, it's just that, I mean, with this, right now, the EOS community is in the verge of many things, Every day that goes by, we feel that this is a huge experiment that is going on. The launch of the mainnet, the voting system for the VPs, this new type of political behavior on the blockchain. This is something incredible, that every day just evolves and transforms. And I think that right now what we need is just, in some tangible way, It's if we could find the appealing of the voters in the EOS community, it's amazing, because that's how you provide, a steady future for this plan. And the second is just like put these plans in the voice of everyone and just share it, because the ideas just get stronger and stronger when it's more people believing in them. When we started EOS Venezuela, we were just like, you think it might happen? You think that people will care about this? I'm not sure, but let's just put it there. Let's just tell people, hey, what if we use the EOS platform and all these benefits to do something as this massive plan from a country that needs it? And actually people care, much more people than I thought that it would be. And now it's amazing, because it's just, the more that I start to talk, the more people I find that say, hey, yeah, this is good. And you know what? I have found much more people, much more intelligent than me. And then when I find all these intelligent people, they come up with actually better ideas. It's like, hey, Alberto, what if we do this? Or what if we do that? And it's like, wow, this is perfect. Yeah, this is what I need. Yeah, this is the technology. And it's just that. Please just share this message, share this plan, share this vision, and let's just see that cryptocurrency, blockchain, and the EOS platform is much more than just money and just IT and software. The impact of what we can do with these tools is just massive. I seriously believe that we can change the world, man.
Yeah, I like it. EOS Venezuela, Alberto, you guys are thinking big, and that's something we all need to be doing. Thinking big is a big, global community here. So where's the best place for people to find an EOS Venezuela, your socials that you'd like them to find you on, follow you, and what would you ask of the audience?
So go and visit eosvenezuela.io. That's our main website. When we have the information about our plan, when we have the registry for the crypto Peso Airdrop. And if you want to talk and know more about us and about our plans and discuss everything, just go to our Telegram channel. That is t.me/EOS Venezuela, or our Twitter, EOS Venezuela, or our Instagram, EOS Venezuela. We are everywhere. But if you want to talk with us, just Telegram, Discord, it will be perfect. Twitter will be perfect also.
All right, great. And my socials are the EOS Podcast. You can just Google the EOS Podcast and you can hear, people with good ideas like Alberto come on and talk about everything EOS. And then I'm at Happy Money Man on the socials, Steemit, YouTube, so all over the place as well. And it was such a pleasure to have you on the show today. And I'm going to have to follow up with you in a couple months and see how, Venezuela is changing, because this is one of the most exciting, block producer projects out there, and really some things happening down on the ground for EOS. So I love it, man.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
The pleasure was mine being here, and this is a very nice conversation. It's very cool when you can have these kind of talks or these kind of interviews, because it's actually it excites me to tell you and to see your receptiveness about it. So thank you for having me, and thank you for this space and this time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great talk, and I appreciate it as well, man. That was fun. Thank you, my crypto friends, my EOS friends, and we got more coming at you, and we'll get back with Alberto and EOS Venezuela in the future and catch up and see how they're going on the EOS podcast. So until next time, my friends, I'll see you later.
Money is not the prime asset in life. Time is, and your time is.